So I said in my videos ranking the best cards from the first chapter and Rise of the Floodborn that in order to make such rankings, I want to have played with the cards for a while and get a sense of what is actually done well in practice. However, instant gratification is what gets views and clicks, so today I'm betraying my integrity and giving my best guesses on what the most impactful cards from Into the Inklands will be. Now, I have played a little bit with these cards on Pixelborn, which already has everything, but that's not a substitute for a month or more of online play, in-person drafts, and kitchen table play. So take all of this with a mountain of salt. There are no honorable mentions this time around. I'm just going to go over what I feel are the 5 cards with the highest potential to wreck the meta in each color in no particular order. Well, alphabetical, they'll be in alphabetical order. What I'm saying is don't infer a power ranking by the order I go by. Anyway, in Amber, Blue von Bruenwald the 13th, what a name. He is a bodyguardy boy who gives 2 lore. So Amber can now do burn. It's not immediate burn the way that other colors have gotten, especially Amethyst. This is no goat, but it's still nice, especially since as a bodyguard, he can protect your squishier things that are going to be little lore batteries, but when he dies, which he probably will, you're going to gain 2 lore. And if necessary, you can throw him into something. I just think we're going to see Baloo a lot. Not just in a bodyguard decks, which may or may not actually enter the meta, but just in general in Amber decks, I think we're going to see Baloo. He's going to give you that extra lore on those Amber decks, and he's going to be good. Also, Chernabog, the Big Potato. We do know his official English name now is Evildoer, but I'm still going to call him the Big Potato. He is a big potato, and people are going to try to make it work. And sometimes, maybe a lot of times, he will work. Because he's a 9/9 with 3 lore that you can get out pretty early, and he's a 9/9 3 lore you can run in an aggro deck, which is weird saying that. You just do your normal Stitch Rockstar Amber Amethyst deck, and you slot in maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 copies of Chernabog, and once enough of your little critters have died, you just throw out Chernabog. It's just like, I'm here. And he's probably going to cost 0. And I think that's going to happen a lot. I don't think we're going to get like self-mill decks like with Whole New Worlds trying to do that. I think it's just going to be aggro decks are going to run Chernabogs. Speaking of aggro decks, Piglet, Pooh Pirate Captain, slots right into those aggro decks, and I think I think Piglet is going to replace Pinocchio because he's basically Pinocchio but harder to kill because he's a 2/2 rather than a 1/1. He's inkable, which is even better, and most of the time he's gonna quest for 3 because you play your 1-drop, Piglet is your 2-drop, and as long as your 1-drop didn't die, then you just play a 3rd thing on turn 2, or even on turn 2 you play 2 things because you're an aggro deck. You can play 2 things on turn 3. He's gonna quest for 3 lore most of the time. Piglet is gonna be in every single aggro deck moving forward. Speaking of aggro decks, but also other things, Pluto Friendly Pooch. The best part about Pluto Friendly Pooch is that if you go Pluto Friendly Pooch turn 1, you do Dock Leader of the 7 Dwarves turn 2, turn 3 you can shift out this 7-cost bodyguard, which is nuts. It's so nuts. Pluto being a mana rock on turn 1 is wild. Pluto is basically Lorcana's Soul Ring. He's going to be in every Amber deck. Every single Amber deck is going to run Friendly Pooch. Not every Amber deck is going to run Determined Defender, but every Amber deck is going to run Friendly Pooch. Mufasa decks, you name it. Friendly Pooch is going to be in there. Finally, the piece of tech that we've been waiting for, the Bare Necessities, is going to be in every Amber deck. It is entirely a tech card, but it is a tech card that will allow you to survive. You play Bare Necessities, and it's single, and it's inkable. So in those matchups where you don't need it, you can just ink it. But it's going to save you from Be Prepared. It's going to save you from Grab Your Swords. It's going to save you from A Whole New World. Like, it stops a lot of stuff. There's items, like, if you're up against a Lucky Dime deck, it's going to discard Lucky Dime. Or it can discard locations. And we'll get into a couple of those locations. But Bare Necessities is very solid. The only deck where it's not going to really do anything is against a Mufasa deck, in which case, just take it. It's fine. But yeah, Amber, it got some decent stuff. But I wouldn't necessarily. I think there's going to be a lot in Amber that has been hyped that is not going to see as much play. Notice I didn't name any of the Amber legendaries. I think they're probably going to be trap cards. I think Perdita's too expensive for an aggro deck, and Kita just isn't really doing much for me. I think there's better things you can do. I think you'd rather use the Queen, who comes out earlier, and you can use more than once. Yeah, I'm not really sold on those. All right, let's move to Amethyst. So Amethyst didn't eat as well as in Rise of the Floodborn, but it still got some good stuff. Starting us off with the most hyped card in this entire set, Jafar, Striking Illusionist. Yeah, there's going to be some games where you're able to shift him out. He sings a whole new world. You get 7 lore. Maybe you're... I had a practice game where someone got out as Jafar Striking Illusionist. I couldn't get rid of it. The next turn, played 2 whole new worlds and just 1. Yeah, there's going to be some games like that. But you do need to... Usually you need to shift him out. You do also need to line it up with a whole new world, so he's limited to Amethyst Steel. But I think you can just make an Amethyst Steel control deck, which people run anyway. Just slot Jafar into there, and then you're going to surprise people sometimes with, oh, oops, I've won. Here's the last 7 lore I need. I'm at 13. I'm done. So yeah, Jafar might sometimes be a trap, but when he works intensely well, scarily well. We're gonna be seeing Jafar a lot. Maleficent, Mistress of All Evil. So she dies to so much. She has such a squishy body for her cost, but if she survives, which is possible, she does a lot. She quests for 2, draws you a card, so she's like the Queen, except she can still quest. And she has the whole damage moving thing, which in Amethyst, you're going to be doing, honestly, more challenges than a lot of the other colors. Because if you're doing stuff with the foxes, or if you're in an Amethyst Ruby deck, you've got Maui and other rush things. So you're going to have damage on your characters. And if you do stuff like Teeth and Ambitions, you deal self-inflicted damage. You have Maleficent move it over to finish things off. Maleficent is a kill on sight thing, which means she's going to see a lot of play. And yeah, I think she's going to be in a lot of decks. Rafiki, the hyena killer. So there's only one hyena, but this is just Forceful Duelist. This is Forceful Duelist in Amethyst. Every steel deck runs Forceful Duelist. A lot of them are now running Tiana instead because of Teeth and Ambitions and because of Let the Storm Rage On. But still, people run Forceful Duelist. I run Forceful Duelist. Amethyst decks are going to start running Rafiki. He attacks for 3. I don't know, 1-drop. That's really all you need. What more can you say? The boss is on a roll. I talked about this when this was revealed. What is this card? Why do they keep giving Amethyst just this, like, here, have lore. Spend 3 ink, have a lore. Why? I don't understand. But yeah, because of that, this is going to be in everything. It's singable, it rearranges the top of your deck, you can pair it with the Sorcerer's Hat so you always know what you're going to draw, and it gives you lores. You can burn. You run 4 copies of this, 4 copies of Goat, 4 copies of the Sorcerer's Spellbook. Maybe you throw it all into a Jafar deck. So much lore burn, and we're probably going to see more in later sets. Yeah, the boss is on a roll is going to be in a lot of decks. And then finally, actually, all right, here I am staking my reputation. This is going to be the strongest card in this color. The Queen's Castle Mirror Chamber. Locations are dumb. Castile's the only color that can reliably get rid of them. especially the higher willpower locations. Because the lower willpower locations, you can rush something into, or if you've got like a couple little things on the field, you can get rid of it. Mirror Chamber has 7 willpower, and it gives 2 lore on top of the whole draw a card for every character there. Like, why? This should have been. This thing should not have had any lore. Either make it a 2 lore location with 7 health for like 3 or something, or have it have 0 lore and you draw a card for each character added. Letting it have both is insane. This card is insane. How did this get past whatever? Like, what is this card? We're gonna be seeing this card a lot. This is going to be in every single Amethyst deck. Every single Amethyst deck is going to run Mirror Chamber. Every single one. Every single one. Okay. Let's go to Emerald. Cursed Merfolk. Yeah, it's these 1 cost 2 lores always see play. Lilo still sees play. Biding Her Time still sees play. Now Emerald gets it. So now Emerald can get on the whole aggro train. So you can now do an Amber Emerald Stitch Rockstar deck, and it might actually work because you have these Cursed Merfolk, and they also have the whole Flynn Charming Rogue thing where you don't want to challenge into them. So if you don't have your ping removal, this is just going to keep questing for 2, and it's going to be gross, disgusting. Yeah, this is going to be in a lot of Emerald decks. The one drawback is it is uninkable, but then again, so are Lilo and Biding Her Time, and those still see so much play because it's a 1-drop. An uninkable 1-drop, you don't care because you want to play your 1-drop on turn 1. This is fine. Kick Cloud Kicker, tough guy. Yeah, he's removal. There's a lot of stuff that has 2 or less strength. There is a lot of stuff that has 2 or less strength. This is going to hit a lot of things. And he's also a body, so unlike Mother Knows Best, where it's, I mean, sure, it's singable, but it's also uninkable. Tough Guy is inkable, and he's going to hit a lot, because especially if you're dropping him as a 3-drop, he's going to bounce quite a few 1 and 2 drops. Now, you're not going to hit Madam M. Snake, because why would anything ever hurt the bounce archetype, but he is going to hit quite a few things, and he's also going to hit quite a few like more expensive things. Like, imagine someone drops Perdita because they're trying to make that work. Oh, here's Tough Guy. Put her back in your hand. Try again. Oh my god. Or like Maurice. Oh, imagine you're trying to make a Maurice deck work and you drop Maurice, and here's Tough Guy. Here's a 3-drop. It just bounces your guy back to hand. And he's going to go well with Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo because he's flickerable. All right. Speaking of flickerable, Ursula Deceiver. Thank you, Ravensburger. Thank you for this and for the Bare Necessities. These have the exact same role. Hey, in an Amber Emerald discard deck, you can run both of them. So Deceiver can sink Bare Necessities. Because Bare Necessities is most of the time looking for songs to discard, because songs are the highest impact non-characters in the game. But Deceiver, she gets rid of Be Prepared, she gets rid of A Whole New World, she gets rid of Grab Your Sword, all these things. Maybe late in the game, she gets rid of the bosses on a roll because you don't want the Amethyst player gaining any lore. But yeah, honestly, you could drop her on turn 2, but you could also drop her on turn 6 against an Amethyst Ruby player to be like, no, I don't. Let me check and make sure and see if you have Be Prepared in your hand. Oh, you do? Not anymore. Yeah, Deceiver is going to be great. She's going to be in every single Emerald deck is going to run Deceiver. Then I have Wildcat. Yeah. What is this card? Emerald 8's so good this set. There's so much good. There are so many cards that I would love to shove into this 5 best of list. There's going to be so many honorable mentions when I finally do the video a month from now about this set in hindsight. But Wildcat, oh my god, just reusably getting rid of items. People already run Benja in basically every steel deck, but that only does it once. Wildcat does it over and over again. The one downside is you do have to wait, but he's a 3-drop, and he's a pretty unassuming 3-drop. He only requests for 1, and he's evasive. So he's pretty darn good. Like, he goes right into my Emerald Ruby evasive deck. I think he's going to be in a lot of Emerald decks. We're going to see a lot of Wildcat. Finally, strike a good match. Emerald can draw. Emerald can draw. And it's not tied to force discard. Strike a good match is going to be in every Emerald deck. So yeah, we have 3 cards that I think are going to be in every single Emerald deck from this day forward. Ursula Deceiver, Wildcat, and Strike a Good Match. Every single deck. Every single deck. And then there's so many other cards that I can't even talk about. Because, like, we got Rourke, I think, is going to be seen. There's the whole thing with Deceiver of All, who's going to sing things twice. The Robin Hood Daydreamer makes so much lore. We've got Morph, who people are going to try to make work. I don't think Morph is going to work, but people are going to try to make him work. There's just so much stuff in there. We have Don Carnage. Like, Emerald got so much shit this set. This is Emerald's set. I am so happy for Emerald. Hooray for Emerald. Let's move to Ruby. Hydra Deadly Serpent. So it is uninkable, but it's got a very nice body for being uninkable. It's like 1 willpower down from a Kronk. And that ability is so good. Like, he basically does double duty. He challenges into something and then he can kill something else. He's basically like Giant Fairy in that regard, except he can sometimes do more damage than that. And if you're running him in like an Amber Ruby or particularly a Sapphire Ruby deck, you can heal him back up and he can keep doing stuff. You can hit him with Teeth and Ambitions. He does double duty. Like, this is going to hurt a lot of things. And I want to see people slotting this into the attempted Grandpappy deck. I want the Grandpappy deck to work. I don't know if it can work quite yet, but we're getting there. Next, Jim Hawkins' Space Traveler. So this is very much going to depend on the color pair you're in. So it's going to depend on the location you can bring out. But even just in Ruby, you can bring out RLS Legacy. He goes there immediately. He gains evasive. RLS Legacy is another one of those. And again, like, RLS Legacy is not going to be in the full top 5 here. But paired with Jim Hawkins, it's fantastic. It's got 8 willpower, 2 lore, and anything there has evasive. Wild stuff. Great. Jim Hawkins throws it out immediately. He also functions well in other colors if you want to bring out Fang City or the Emperor Cusco Palace. I think there's going to be a lot of Jim Hawkins play. I think he might be a little overrated, but we're going to see him a lot. Speaking of something that I don't think you could possibly ever overrate, Prince Eric, Expert Helmsman. Wow. I've already gone against him in a couple practice games, and the amount of plotting you have to do around him, like, okay, I don't want to play this, I have to kill him first and then I play something else because and so you have to actually think about like ordering, like, how do I want to kill him? I don't want that to die because he gets to pick. Oh my god. And you can't leave him alive because he's too lore. Like, this is a very well designed card. I love that I can run it against Amethyst Ruby. I hate that Amethyst Ruby has access to him. He's a very good card. He's going to be in most Ruby decks. Sumerian Talisman, I think, has gone under the radar a little bit, but I think once things start picking up, people start playing with all of the cards, they test out their decks, we're going to see Sumerian Talisman cropping up a fair bit. Its card draw is amazing, and this card draw, unlike Dinner Bell, doesn't require you to spend ink to do it. It's just there. You plop it down, you throw Maui into something, he dies, you draw a card. You had Scarvicious Cheater comes out, takes out the board, he dies, you draw a card. And it's just that little bit of extra card draw throughout the game that you're going to be getting, because as much as it has become almost a cliche to say that like challenging never happens in Lorcana because there's so much removal, challenging still happens. Like Madame Mim Fox exists because challenging happens. Challenging still happens. Maui Hero to All exists because challenging happens. Sumerian Talisman is going to give you a lot of value throughout the game, and I think Sumerian Talisman is going to be in a lot of Ruby decks. Finally, Jolly Roger. The existence of Jolly Roger makes the pirate deck work. because the pirates can go into the Jolly Roger, the pirates can swing out of the Jolly Roger, and they've got rush. The one downside is it is unequal. It doesn't have any lore, but it's gonna be good. And it's gonna be real good with a particular pirate in steel, which we'll get to. But first, we got to cover Sapphire. First up, Grammatala, Keeper of Secrets. This is Sapphire's Maleficent Sorceress. She's got a better stat line, and she can filter rather than just drawing off of the top for costing one more. But you know, it's Sapphire. Who the hell cares? Play a one jump ahead on turn 2. There you go. Now she comes out the same time Maleficent Sorceress does. It's Sapphire. Who cares? The best part about Keeper of Secrets is as a shift target for Spirit of the Ocean. Oh, God. So the funny thing about Spirit of the Ocean with regards to Striking Illusionist is that Striking Illusionist has a higher best possibility. Because if you're able to shift down Striking Illusionist and sing Whole New World, that's 7 lore right there. You've refilled your hand. Oh my God, you're probably going to win. However, those shift targets can get sniped. He has to be exerted. It doesn't count the first draw you do every turn. If you don't have any cards in your hand, well, he's not really doing anything. He's an evasive, which is still good, but he's not really doing anything. Spirit of the Ocean doesn't have to be exerted. Does not have to be exerted. So you can, even if you don't even shift her out, you just drop her turn 7, ink something, that's a free lore. But you shift her out, she can sing Friend Like Me, or even just like you probably wouldn't sing One Jump In because you may as well just go, but you can sing Friend Like Me, you can have something else sing, like, there's so much you can do, especially paired with the other thing, Mama Odie, Mystical Maven, is so good. There's so many good Sapphire songs. You pair her with Steel, which is good songs. There's a Sapphire Steel deck. You get to 10 ink so fast. It's insane. It's insane. Your opponent cannot let Mama Odie live. Oh my God. You play Mama Odie. You have someone sing One Jump Ahead. That's 2 ink in there. If she survives around, you sing something. You sing like Let It Go or something. That's another ink in there. Like, yes, throw my whole deck in my inkwell. You have so much ink. And then that goes so well with Spirit of the Ocean. There is a deck here. There very much is a deck based around Grammatala, Spirit of the Ocean, and Mystical Maven is a key part of that. We're gonna see these decks. So decks that we're gonna see, but I'm not sure will necessarily pan out, are Lucky Dime decks. I want Lucky Dime to work. I would love Lucky Dime to work. There is absolutely going to be an Amethyst Sapphire deck that does Magic at a Spell, the Midas Touch, which I didn't even put in the top 5 because she basically needs to be paired with Lucky Dime in order to do anything. But Lucky Dime, if you like throw Lucky Dime, like Bell will give you 5, you throw into a Tamatoa deck. The Lucky Dime is going to go off on Tamatoa, which is just going to be stupid. People are going to try to make Lucky Dime work because, again, like with Jafar, the very high ceiling, you can get a lot of lore, and it's not in Amethyst. Lore burn that isn't in Amethyst. Yeah, people are going to try to make that work. And speaking of lore burn that isn't in Amethyst, McDuck Manor, it's got 9 willpower. Oh my God. I do think Mirror Chamber is the better location simply because of the whole stupid draw thing. But McDuck Manor is gonna be so hard to get rid of. Steel essentially has to run Rise of the Titans, which is going to be a tech card that does nothing else, and so it takes up space in their deck, but they have to run it because McDuck Manor. If you were playing a Sapphire control deck, which probably is going to be Sapphire Ruby, maybe you're doing like a Popsicle deck or something, McDuck Manor needs to be in there. Because you do Be Prepared, you're protecting your McDuck Manor. And if you get multiple of these out, you are on a clock. Maui does not kill this. Scar does not kill this. There is no rush character that can kill this in a single hit. I mean, if you somehow play out Sheerna Bog with a Croquet Mallet, then yeah, that would kill McDuck Manor. But now we're off in like fancy fairyland. McDuck Manor might actually be the best Sapphire card in this set, which is weird because it's a common. And it's a vanilla common is the best card in this set. I mean, like, that sounds disparaging, but it is a really good card. And I do like the other 4 cards here in Sapphire. I think Sapphire also got some cool stuff. Steel, John Silver, Greedy Treasure Seeker. So he fits right into the pirate deck, and in that pirate deck, you're already going to be running Jolly Roger. You might be running RLS Legacy because you probably also want to throw in Jim Hawkins, and then just throw in like the Bayou or Nottingham in there, and you just keep plopping down locations. He's going to have like Resist a billion, Lore Pips a billion. This guy is going to be questing for an insane amount of lore, and he's going to be real hard to get rid of. A little less insane, but still ridiculous, is Mr. Smee, Bumbling Mate, who in the pirate deck is just a vanilla 3/3/2 lore for 2. For 2. He is a Kristoff official Ice Master. You can get out 1 turn earlier. This is, but you really can only realistically run him in a pirate deck. But there is a card that is going to have a whole deck built around him, which is Sheriff of Nottingham, Corrupt Official. As if you're going up against a steel deck and you see their turn 1 play is Simba, Future King, you're going up against a Sheriff of Nottingham deck. And oh wow, Sheriff of Nottingham he's kind of the new Giant Fairy, sort of, but there's this whole deck around him. What I would love to see in a future set would be something that gives you lore each time you discard a card, and that would slot right into here. But right now, at least killing your opponent's board while you do discard stuff. And there's a lot of ways to do that in Steel. You got Whole New World, you've got Tiny Tactician, you've got the location I'll be talking about in a sec, because of course it's going to be here. There's a lot of ways to do it. Corrupt Official is going to be in a lot of Steel decks. Every Steel deck is going to run along Cane Zeus. Do I even need to say anything about this? It hits characters, it hits locations, it kills most things. There are only a small select few things that it doesn't just kill. It's good. Last card is the Bayou Mysterious Swamp, which is going to go right into the Sheriff of Nottingham deck. But it's also just like a decent location. Like, you can drop it as a 1-drop. It's going to like give you lore progressively as the game goes. It's going to give you lore progressively as the game goes along, and it's just got a decent effect because that whole like looting effect lets you you can curate what's in your hand. It's not as good as just straight draw, but it's still good. You're getting through your deck. You can replace stuff that you don't want as much, and it comes at a better rate than normal draw. So yeah, Steel also good. I didn't even talk about, say, the legendary Robin Hood or the Trumpeter. There's going to be Trumpeter decks, but I think these 5 are going to be the most impactful out of Steel. I will say, so this set shakes things up a lot. Locations shake things up a lot. Just from the few games I've played on Pixelborn, I'm going to be making a whole video dedicated to just locations because they change things so much. If you have not gotten yourself into the locations exist and are part of the gameplay now mindset, you're going to lose. You have to be able to deal with locations or you're just going to lose. With that in mind, there's a lot of cool stuff in this set. And it feels like the cool stuff got spread a bit more evenly and not just all in Amethyst. We've got the whole Grammatala thing going on. We got the Pirates thing. We've got Prince Eric is in Ruby. Emerald has so much stuff this set. Emerald will actually be playable, and I think the Emerald discard deck is going to actually make its way into the meta, and I think it will actually see play in tournaments. At least I'm hoping. But yeah, I think this is going to be a fun set. I'm very much looking forward to popping open a couple boxes. Look for that. The next video I'm going to do is probably going to be the Into the Inklands box opening, probably coming up in a couple of days here. But I do also want to make that locations video, so be on the lookout for both of those. And yeah, enjoy this new set. Go do a draft if you can. Look for local draft events. Drafts are a lot of fun. I know they're a little pricey because it's 4 packs instead of just 3 like in Magic the Gathering, but it's so much fun. Like, the most fun I have in Lorcana is doing drafts. Please, go draft. Draft is so much fun. Go draft. Bye. Love you all.